Hi, and welcome to the show. Today is Monday, July the 30th, 2018. Our call-in number is 563-999-3581. Press 1, and that puts you in queue to talk to us. And we would love to hear your comments and your questions because that makes this your show. And Michael's down at the Heart Center right now. We're attempting to finalize everything and seal up doors and do some stuff just before we pull out. We've actually got the trailer hooked up, and it looks like we will actually get on the road Wednesday. So he is down there working on that right now. So I will start out with the Course in Miracles lesson for today, and it is, if I can roll down here far enough. Okay, this is for Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So the first one is Lesson 209, which is, again, a review lesson. All three of these are review lessons out of the main topic that says, I am not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me. And the first one, 209, says, I feel the love of God within me now. And, what this work is about is removing anything that's within us that would keep us from feeling that love. We're designed to experience who we are, the being. It says we're created in the image of the Creator and that God is love. That means it's the stuff we're made of. So if we don't feel love, if at any time we feel, hostility, fear, grief, pain, sadness, whatever, that's less than love, then the forgiveness process is going inside and removing that so that we can get back to experiencing the love of God within us, and that we should feel that 24/7, 365. So I feel the love of God within me now. So that would be a clue or a trigger to stop and say, is that true for me? Do I feel it now? And if I don't, then we do the forgiveness process and get back to that. The second one is Lesson 210, and it says, I choose the joy of God instead of pain. And, we do have choice, and that oftentimes, can be a challenge, whether it's emotional pain or physical pain. We would all prefer to experience the joy of God, and that's what we would want to choose. And we find ourselves at times that that's not where we are, just like in the first one. So we ask ourselves, okay, if I choose that, it's kind of like in the worksheet when we get down to the goal and people say, well, why should I cancel the goal? And we always say, if we are creators and there is something that we want that we don't have, why don't we have it? It's because there is a part of us that is yelling louder or has more emotion or has been pushed down tighter and sends out the greater signal that either believes that we can't have it or we don't deserve it or it's not going to happen for us or whatever. And so canceling the goal and removing it so that we can see what's underneath it that's holding us back from achieving that goal. So if we would choose the joy of God, so that's a goal, but yet we're experiencing pain, then we need to cancel that goal and look underneath and see what is it that's keeping us from having what we would want to choose. What's keeping us from the joy of love? And the third one is Lesson 211, and it says, I am the Holy Son or daughter of God Himself. And so, we are created in His likeness and in His image, and we are children of God. And that, for a lot of people, will bring up and say, well, I don't believe that. I don't believe everybody is. And what comes to my mind right there is in the movie The Shack. And there is a point in the movie that the main character, who has suffered a great loss and he's in a lot of pain, and he's wanting to pass judgment on the person who killed his daughter. And so the Spirit of wisdom has him sit on the judgment throne and says, okay, you want to be judged, so here's your two children. And she names things that each of the children are doing that's off target. and said, so you get to choose which one of your children do you send to heaven and which one of your children do you send to hell. And he says, no. He says, I'm not going to send either one of them. He said, if somebody has to go to hell, then let me go. Take me and let them, I'm not sending either one of them. And she says, but yet you expect God to send one of his children into condemnation and the other one into heaven. So what's the difference? And it's a big point of saying, okay. We like to judge other people and maybe we don't like to, but it just seems to be in our nature that we do that. And somebody asked the question the other day, if we're asking why did something happen or why did somebody do such and such, then we're in a way looking to blame them. We're wanting to judge them. We're wanting somebody to be at fault for what's going on, whether it's to us personally or whether it's to the country or to the world or whatever, instead of just stepping up and saying, okay, what can I do to make this different? And looking at what it brings up in us. And so we are all children of God. Michael and I watched a movie the other night that was called Dead Man Walking, and it's an older film with Sean Penn, but it was based on a true story, and Susan Sarandon plays the nun, and she is writing to this to Sean Penn, who is in prison, and she goes to visit with him, and he's on death row, and so she decides to be his space when he's being executed. And it's like people are just going crazy, like, how can you send him love? How can you do that? How can you have compassion for this person? He deserves what he's getting. And, it was a very powerful moment in the film to just say, everybody deserves love. I mean, it doesn't mean that they're not to be held accountable for whatever it is they did that was off target. But they deserve love. And everybody is a child of God. And so, we need to move to the point where we stop segregating people, whether it's by color or race or religion or whatever, and act like the child of God, which would do nothing but send love to the other parts of its own being. We're all cells in one body. So that's the Course in Miracle lessons for today. And I will say hi to Dr. Tim. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm good. I just put a bite of food in my mouth.
Oh, okay. Well, you want me to talk while you chew and swallow?
Thinking you were going to keep going.
Oh.
Is Michael not with us today?
He's down at the Heart Center, and he left his phone up here, so he didn't have it with him down there to let him know that it was showtime. So it has snuck up on him, and I guess I could put the show on hold and run down there, but I'll just keep going, and he'll eventually walk in, I'm sure. But we're trying to close up the buildings and stuff.
I had a lovely weekend, and we had pleasant weather here, so I got some time outside, and I'm just coming to the show right from a session where I was working with another psychologist, trying to help him understand how I need to be completely 100% responsible for the emotions I'm creating. And he said, well, I mostly agree with that. And I found myself saying to him, okay, then you'll be mostly at liberty and partly in prison. And he said, what do you mean? I said, well, to whatever degree I think the people and situations outside of me can cause and control my emotions, to that degree I'm still in prison. And he thought about it, and he said, well, okay, I think I mostly, and then he basically said, I agree that I create my own emotions. I said, okay, so what part of it are you still holding back? Well, in certain situations. So I found myself saying to him, well, let's imagine that I tell you that I mostly believe that gravity works the way it does, but then I get on a wonderful vacation out in the Grand Teton National Park, and I'm on one of these peaks overlooking this gorgeous expanse, and I'm feeling this updraft, and I'm feeling like, you know what, I could fly. Gravity doesn't have to apply here. And he chuckled. And I think he got the point. This work brings me deeper and deeper liberty the more I recognize that if I'm not feeling my true nature, if I'm not consciously aware of the miracle of life expressing through me in this moment, I have work to do to restore that awareness. And when I do, things start to change dramatically. So I enjoyed your summary of the Course in Miracles lessons, and I've had a good weekend, and that's my offering today.
Awesome. Thank you. And thank you also for assisting me Friday or Thursday or whatever day it was in editing that one show. For our listening audience, Hold the Space, I got an email from Blog Talk, and they wanted me to submit one of our shows and some explanation about what we do and so forth. And they're contemplating using it as a feature show so that, like, no matter who signs on to Blog Talk on their own radio show or whatever, that that show will show up. And they said they couldn't guarantee that they would choose it, but they were working on that. And so we thought that the show from the other day, when we had a young lady who was working on panic attacks and not knowing where it was coming from or what was going on, that was an excellent show. So Dr. Tim helped edit it because we had some technical difficulties in the beginning. And so that's the one that I submitted to them. So Hold the Space, and that'll get us out there in front of a whole lot more people. And I've also sent an email. For some reason, if you do a podcast search, our shows are not showing up. And so I've sent an email to the Blog Talk Support Center asking them what needs to be done that would show up in podcast searches. So trying to get us out there a little bit more. And we appreciate the ones of you that are with us almost every day. And for those who are new, we welcome you. And so our call-in number is 563-999-3581, and press 1. We would love to support you, hear your comments, your questions. Let us know how we can help. What's going on in your world? So I just now checked, and for some reason the chat room is hung up too. I will reboot that. So no hands are up. Come on, I'm sure somebody's got a comment or a question. We've actually, Michael and I both have texted several people over the weekend that they had questions that would be phenomenal questions for the radio show. And they would send us emails and say, well, what about this, or how do you do that, or what would you suggest here? And we say, call the radio show. So if you are...
It's been a big... Yeah, it's been a long time. It's been a weekend. I'm sure there are people out there who've had stuff come up over the weekend. Press 1. Be brave.
Hey, we had a hand just go up. Awesome. 901. You are on the air. Who do we have?
Hi, this is Brenda in Memphis. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Welcome to the show, Brenda.
Oh, okay.
How's your weekend? What's happening?
Oh, well, it was productive. I was able to eliminate a few bags of stuff from my life, so that was encouraging. But we had a Laws of Living call last night, and Julie and I were the only ones that were able to be on it. But we got to talking about the Mind Goal Management sheet. The wake-up sheet. And I was making a comment that I've copied off wake-up sheets where I've got the 4 short ones on one side of the paper and the long one on the back side of the paper. And my process was that I would wake up and do 4 short ones, and then I'd evaluate which was the most important issue that I was working with and do that on the long sheet. And that way I could get my 5 done in the day. And she mentioned that she does the long sheet first, and then if something comes up on the long side, that then she puts those additional things, instead of making notes in the margin, she just puts them on the 4 short ones. And I went, that's a pretty good idea. So I worked with that this morning, and it works nicely, and I passed that on to anybody who is having challenges getting 5 long wake-up sheets done in a day, that you can start with either side, but it does kind of streamline if you can just flip the page over and write down whatever additional emotions come up as you're doing the long sheet, and that's my comment.
That's a good idea. Yeah, I was typing the notes of it there. It took me a minute to get back to you on the phone. But, yeah, that's an excellent idea. Thank you for that.
Well, thank you, Julie, for that.
And it's Julie in Oregon?
In Oregon, yes, Julie in Oregon. Right. Anyway, and just we'll keep a space. If everybody keeps a space, I guess there's fires and stuff going on up there too, so we keep a space for that. And then on Wednesday, I'm back in court with our issues. So just, if everybody keeps a space of love Wednesday morning, that justice will prevail and that truth will prevail and that love will prevail. And that would be helpful. So that's my comment for today.
Awesome. Well, we will definitely hold the space. Michael and I will be driving on Wednesday, so we will say additional prayers and petitions for you and hold the space of love for you.
I appreciate that. When are you leaving Heartland?
Wednesday morning. We will.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to leave and go to St. Louis. If everything goes as planned, we'll have dinner with his daughter and granddaughter and their family Wednesday evening. And then, depending on how the rest of the week looks, whether we can get Addie or not for Thursday and Friday or whatever. And then by the weekend, we'll be headed down to Bristol.
Okay. I was thinking that you might be there a little longer. I was planning a trip up there maybe the second week of August with some things.
No, my son and his bride's baby was originally due on the 24th of August, and then the doctor told him that she could come anytime, and that he would anticipate 2 weeks early. So we're going to head on to Bristol to be there in time for that.
Are you coming through Memphis on your way?
I haven't looked at the GPS. I don't know which direction it takes us from there, but after the show, I'll look it up, and we'll let you know what that looks like.
Okay. All right.
Awesome.
Well, call if you do. And I'm going to sign off now and let someone else come on.
All right. Thank you, Brenda. Appreciate your call.
All right.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Now, we've been making a list of projects for next year's Food Fund Forgiveness and Work program. And Ken and Linda are actually coming in October to live here at Heartland for several months. And so he said, that he would be working on those projects. And he, I think half jokingly, well, at least I took it that way, but he may have been serious. He said, what if I get all the projects done and there's not any for next year? And it was like, well, I'm sure we can find something to do for next Food Fund Forgiveness, but we've come up with a huge list of things that still needs to be done here at Heartland. Tremendous headway was made this year. It was like fabulous having so many people here and everybody pitching in and working, and so much physical work got done, and then it was as intense as far as processing work as a normal intensive. I mean, it was amazing what all got done and how much each person even supported the other people while they were working. It wasn't just during class time in the evenings or when we were breathing. It was just phenomenal how everything worked. And Brenda, I forgot to ask you how your hand is or your arm. She was working on the bell cord or ringing the bell, and the cord broke, and she fell backwards, and we didn't know it at the time, but later she found out she had actually broken her wrist or her arm. And the bell tower is being worked on right now. If you're connected with us on Facebook, Michael posted a picture of what the bell tower is going to look like, and it's actually going to be like a lighthouse. It's going to be on the front side of the Heart Center instead of on the back side of the porch. And so that's coming together. They've started digging the hole for the footers, and so that's really, really nice. They submitted the drawing of what they're going to have as the end product, and so we're excited about that. So there's a lot of things still going on, whether we're here or not, and so we just appreciate everybody holding the space and as Heartland and everything moves forward. You can look on our website, which is www.whyagain.org, and you can see our schedule for next year for the Food Fund Forgiveness. And we're offering a special if somebody comes and does the 16-day work program, and then they want to stay over for the 9-day why or one of the other intensives afterwards, then there's a discounted price for them to move on into the regular intensive program. And we're hopefully going to get one of the buildings that's down the hill called Happiness, get it renovated and completed, and that's actually going to be the teaching center for the women's intensive while Michael's got the men or the mixed group or whatever up at the Heart Center doing work. And I see Brenda just put her hand back up, so I'm going to turn her back on. Hi there, young lady. How's the arm?
Hi. Well, the cast came off last week, and so I just have a brace that I use periodically when I need to, but the doctor said that it would probably take about 6 to 9 months to really heal, but my goal is about 3 months, or my intention is 3 months. So anyway.
Well, you just take care of it and don't push yourself, okay?
No, I won't. And
or let me reword that. Give yourself the time.
Yes. No, I'm giving myself the time. I'm just doing the nutritional things that will support the bones healing and everything being back to normal. So
awesome.
That's what we're going to do. All right, so I'm going to leave again.
Okay, thanks. Appreciate you. And we do have another hand that just went up. It's 610. You are on the air. Who do we have?
Hello, it's Susan in Allentown, Pennsylvania.
Hello, young lady.
Hello, young lady yourself. Hello, everybody over there. We just had a humongo family reunion, which was just so lovely, and I was very surprised to find that I had a recurrence of anxiety. I've had 2 blissful months of anxiety-free life, and even though we were all together with people that I love, I was having to go off by myself to breathe, and I wasn't feeling well physically, and I think it's anxiety, but my digestion goes haywire. And I've done a worksheet on what I think the culprit is, but the worksheet hasn't done any help, so I really would love to be taken through the worksheet if you are willing to do that on the radio show.
Absolutely. And if you make a note of it, too, if you didn't hear the radio show on July 25th, that was last Wednesday, a caller, it was Laura from Pahrump, and she called in, and it was around panic attacks. And
yes, I heard
Michael,
the second half of that. I did. Right. Yeah, panic. Good grief. Well,
okay,
I have a basic belief. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm using a worksheet that I've modified for a little group that I hope will start convening. The group is brand new at this, and one of our members is very sensitive to any religious input. So Michael has talked about that before. So anyway, my first number says, what is bothering me? And I have somebody fill it out. And my feeling is feeling useless because I'm not writing music or doing something that counts. And let me modify or explain what count means. Very few things count. I could be cooking dinner for 33 people, which is what I was doing this last weekend for our reunion, or taking kids to places, or doing wash or cleaning the house, but those things don't count. And this has been a lifelong problem. I have let my thinking go in this direction for so long because I was able to do the work that did count. And at first it was concertizing as a pianist, but then I found out that just stage fright and nerves and not really feeling it was a good fit, I began writing music, and that was a wonderful calling, and it counted. And every day if I composed, I felt as if I'd earned my ticket to life. Well, this weekend was filled with stuff that didn't count, and my anxiety went up, and I thought, I don't want to be this way anymore. So I just did the first.
Remember when the universe doesn't hear not. And so when you say, I don't want to be this way, you're actually saying you want to be that way. So what is it you really want?
Oh, thanks for reminding me. I forgot all about that. Positive. Put it positively. I want to feel as if I belong here, even if I'm not doing anything that counts. Number 2 on that is I want everything I do to count so that I can live. That's pretty much it.
Okay, that's actually several worksheets. So if you're trying to cram all that into one worksheet, that would put in overload.
Okay, well, we can narrow it down.
All right, so let's first look at, have you done the purpose worksheet?
No.
Okay, you might want to go to our website, click on the bullseye, and scroll all the way down. It's closer to the bottom, and it's called Purpose, Personal Power, and Commitment, the Purpose Worksheet. And it will walk you through being able to narrow down, pinpoint what you're here for.
Okay.
And you could be doing the exact same thing, but if it supports your purpose, then you'll be happy in doing it. Whereas if it doesn't, you won't. And an example that Michael gives is this gentleman that I believe that it was Ram Dass, may be incorrect, but this gentleman used to be a loan officer and at a bank, and he decided, that just making loans for people, making money for the bank, that wasn't, what he was here for. He quit. He became like a hippie, followed Ram Dass around, and, just was like doing all spiritual work and everything. And then later, and it was like, I guess years later or whatever, the head banker saw him, and he says, you were the best loan officer that we had, and would you consider coming back because, our guy has just left, and there's a vacancy there. And the guy said yes. And so he went back to doing the exact same job. However, he looked at it now as he was able to reach people and assist them in making good choices financially and everything. And so he was there doing the same work but with a different purpose. He wasn't there to make money for the bank. He was there to help the people. And he was able to help people that other loan officers or whatever, weren't considering their positions and weren't really helping the people. They were helping the bank. And so he did the same job, but he was doing it on purpose. And so he was fulfilled by it. Now, looking at that, when you're cooking or doing other things that doesn't count, I think you're cutting yourself short. It may not be your extreme purpose, but if you look at it a little, let's switch it just a little differently. All right, so you were cooking the meals for all the people that were there for the reunion. But if you look at it that you were serving and bringing joy and happiness to the other family members and to yourself, and filling their bellies with nutritious items, that they might not get otherwise. You could look at that differently, and that you were serving them in an awesome, loving way, and it absolutely counts. Anybody could go in the kitchen and open a can of beans. And so, you can change your vision of what you were doing. And, our feelings are shadows of thoughts. So when our thoughts are off target, then that creates the feelings that are off target. So the feelings of anxiety or fear or whatever comes from the thoughts of I don't count. And so change the thought, and it will change the feeling. Does any of that make sense?
It does make sense. And in my deepest self, I believe that my purpose is to be a loving friend and a loving parent and grandparent. All of those things are my highest goal, but somehow there's anxiety connected to all that because I still have this other value system sitting in my system somewhere. And sometimes it doesn't bother me so much, but there were other factors, but I'll just stick to this one because it's been really a lifelong. I was from a big family, and so, if I was good at stuff, I got stuff. I got attention and love and so forth, and it translated very nicely, and it worked very nicely. It doesn't work very well because most people don't need liturgical operas. It really isn't a useful purpose in my regular life. I'm going all over the place, though. So, yes,
no,
that
you're
does.
Good. And so there was probably, all right, let's go on through the worksheet.
Okay.
Let's pick one of those. So let's pick that you were, whatever you were doing that you didn't feel counted this weekend. Was it mostly that you were in the kitchen or what?
Oh, it wasn't that I wasn't appreciated or counted in that way. Everybody was great, and that was no problem there. And I'm not trying to get attention for cooking. It's like inside myself, there's only one vocation that counts in the universe, and that is that I'm writing music. Otherwise, I'm wasting my time, even though I know I'm not wasting my time. But somehow, if I haven't done some good work each day, I don't feel very good about myself when I go to bed. It's like that.
So you don't need a power person or somebody to beat up on you. You do a good job on yourself, huh?
Yeah, Jeanie, I do.
Okay, so your music, is it just playing or is it also singing or?
It's writing music for singers and instrumentalists.
Okay, so do you also sing?
Only to tell them what pitch they should be on. I can carry a tune, but no, I'm mainly a pianist.
Well, I was just going to say, you could, one of the things that my mom and I used to do when we were washing dishes, we never had a dishwasher. I was the dishwasher.
Right. I know that.
When we were washing dishes, we would sing. And, I am not a great singer or whatever, but I can do an okay job. But we would start off and we'd be singing the melody line of a song. And then my mom, who was a good singer, she would switch over to harmonize with me. But she wouldn't get 3 words in until I would switch over and be harmonizing. I mean, it was like I couldn't carry a separate, I couldn't sing one way and her sing the other, kind of like you do a row, 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 you thing,
Right, yeah.
And I would switch over and be following her. But, so I was going to say, turn your cooking and your the chores that you feel don't count and also utilize them as a time when you're using your music. That was why I asked, did you sing? Because you can sing as you do that. But, maybe put some of your music on that you wrote and play it while you're doing those things.
Well, yeah.
Okay, so let's do the worksheet. So you're doing what in your mind might be a trivial job that is not supporting your purpose. So that's
right.
Actually the thought on the work. And this is like what I call backing into a worksheet. You fill in the blanks that you know, and then you go back. So the thought is, I'm not doing something that counts.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then you go back up and fill in what you were doing. I was cooking or whatever it was.
Yeah. I feel as if this is a fear that it lies way down deep under all the useful, good, loving things I was doing. I can't seem to access where the itch really is. Maybe I should forget about cooking this weekend and just say, here it is. We've gotten home from the reunion. We're all tired. And I've wasted this day. I have done 2 worksheets, which should count, and one of them wasn't even one of them. 2 other worksheets. But I feel as if I'm wasting my time because it isn't my real work, even though it's all so good. It isn't my real work. I'm sorry, Jeanie. I'm taking you around the barn, and I don't even know where I'm taking you.
let me step in.
Yes,
okay,
go for it,
Tim.
And ask you, Susan, to take a breath or two.
Okay.
And recognize that you called in and you specifically asked if Jeanie could help you go through a worksheet.
Yep.
So let's let you take a breath and recognize some part of you is resisting your initial request.
Okay.
Just breathe into that and see if, as you breathe into that and settle down, if it's possible for you to allow Jeanie to step you through the worksheet.
Sure it is. Yeah, I can feel that. I
Go ahead,
also
Jeanie.
feel that singing in the kitchen wouldn't cut it, Jeanie. And I know that sounds nasty.
Okay.
So,
and I would like to point out, too, and this was actually a text that I just got from Julie Haverstick, thank you very much, that she called it and I didn't. You said, it's not that I want attention.
Yeah.
And so at some level, some point you are. And it's probably, comes from a time when, usually it's around the age of 3 or 4 that we give up just being and start doing. And we confuse approval for love. We think we need to do something or be something to get approval of our parents or whoever it is. That just being who we are is not enough. And so
Julie hit it. She really did it. She did it. That's it. I do want attention. I want attention. I have to figure out what kind because I got plenty of it this weekend, but it didn't count. But Julie's right. Sorry, Jeanie. I just had to say that. Thank you, Julie. Wherever you are in the ozone. Oh, yeah.
So she caught that. But our words fly up and they'll tell us what's actually underneath and what, we need to look at.
She caught it.
So
she did catch it. I want that. I want it.
So that's going to be your goal, I think, on this worksheet.
Okay.
Put in,
all right.
Number 3, what I want attention.
Mhm.
All right. Now let's go back up. So we've got the event that happened. You were working in the kitchen. We've got the thought that you weren't doing something constructive. What was the feeling? Take a breath. What was the feeling that you weren't doing something? I know you're saying that anxiety is there.
Jeanie, I have to. At the time, I just wasn't feeling well. I was feeling overloaded with stimulation, tired, needing to be a real introvert and go hole up somewhere and be quiet. I was pushing. We live pretty quietly now, and I wasn't accustomed to that much constant, wonderful input and how are you and tell me what's going on and all this wonderful stuff. I don't know if it was anxiety now that you're asking. It's a great question because mainly I was just tired and wanted to get away, wanted to get the food on the table. Yeah.
Notice is this what's can be called a house divided against itself? Your goal, what was your goal? What did we just put down?
To have what I'm doing count.
I think we actually put down that you wanted attention as the goal.
Okay, that's the more recent one. Yep. Got it.
All right. And now notice you're saying, but I wanted to go away and be by myself.
Right.
There is a definite pull in two different directions there.
Yes.
I want attention. Nope, I want to go be by myself. Oh, I want them to, appreciate me. Nope, I want to go over here and be an introvert. You're pulling yourself in two different directions there. So usually that is two different goals. And if you cancel one, then you're only going in one direction. So let go of the need for the moment. That's another worksheet to be by yourself. So let go for a moment of the need to take yourself in that direction. And let's stay with that you want attention.
Okay.
Okay, so take a breath and close your eyes and just think about, okay, so what I want is attention, and I feel like I'm doing something that doesn't count. What's the feeling?
So the attention that I get doesn't count.
Okay, that's a thought.
That's a thought, but it's like hopeless.
Hopeless?
I can't get there from here. This won't take me where I need to go.
Okay, so you're talking about that the work that you're doing that you don't think counts won't take you where you want to go.
Right.
Okay, so
I'll get
hopeless?
all sorts of wonderful attention, but the attention won't count because the work didn't count.
Okay, so put hopeless up in the feeling. And that actually, Dr. Tim, is hopeless a thought? When I think it's hopeless,
most of the time, I relegate that to a thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
When I think that it's hopeless, I feel
scared, just plain scared.
Okay. Take a breath and put that down.
Yeah.
See, the more specific in a worksheet that you can get, it will dig into those. There are files and they're all connected. So you've got files of your productivity and your files of what is good and acceptable and what is not acceptable, what's on purpose, what's not on purpose. You've got different things. And, I can understand what you're saying, especially about the kitchen. And Julie's listening, so she can back me up on this one. There were several years that when we came to Heartland, Ari didn't come, and I was basically in charge of the kitchen, doing the menus, the food, in charge of the people, and I was good at it. I learned how to do it, and I could produce some great meals and things, but it is not my purpose. Now, I know that my doing that helped Michael and helped us get through the intensive season and things like that. So it fulfilled a purpose, but it's not my purpose. And, I told Michael, I said, any time and every time that you can get Ari or somebody else to do the kitchen, I choose to not do it. I can do it, but I choose to not do it.
You're
so
right on it there, Jeanie.
I can understand what you're saying and how that you feel like it's not fulfilling that. I don't know if there were times when other people would jump in and help you, or did you take it on that you needed to be, I was trying to remember the story in the scriptures about Martha and Mary, and one of them sat at his feet and the other one was busy. And so anyway, I don't know if you were always the one that was busy and always the one doing everything instead of taking the time to sit. But let's go on through the worksheet. Okay, so we've got number 1 filled out with the thought, feeling, and the goal. So what have you put down? You're using your modified sheet. I don't know if you've sent it to Michael, if he's seen it or what. Do you still leave? I hope you're still leaving the canceling part in there, because that is the core step.
Definitely am. I am definitely leaving the canceling part, and that would be a big one. Cancel the goal of writing music every day, canceling the goal of having that requirement every day. It's a kind of pressure, and as I get older, I'm doing less and less of that, probably very naturally letting some of it go, and part of my ego isn't letting me let it go. So if I cancel the goal,
but on this particular worksheet, since I don't see your sheet and I don't know how it's worded, from where you wrote the goal in, read to me, follow down through there after you've written the goal of wanting attention. What do you have on your worksheet?
I invite myself, love, higher power, God, to start me on the path toward healing. Is that what you're talking about? I've canceled my goal. Yeah. So that I can be restored to my real nature, which is peaceful and loving. I ask for help in keeping love and peace present and to help me let go of my painful non-reality. And it is a non-reality, so I'm going to breathe. Yeah.
Okay, so I heard you say I canceled my goal, but then you didn't name it. And there's power in naming it.
Yes. I need help with the goal, I think, too, but my goal...
We wrote it on there, unless you didn't write it down, because you're kind of dancing around it because you've mentioned your goal to do music and your goal to do this and do that. But on this particular worksheet, I think we narrowed it down to your goal that you wanted attention.
Okay, I'll cancel that. That's very clear. Cancel it. I didn't cancel that in my... Yep.
So what happens when you take a breath, you invite the higher power to assist you in this, and you cancel your goal to get attention? And think about this weekend. Take a breath and just go there for a minute.
Okay.
What comes up?
I feel really sad for some reason. I don't know why.
Okay, breathe into that. Be with it. Breathe into it.
I don't know why I should feel sad about giving such a stupid goal up.
So who's called you stupid? Or thought that what you set as goals were stupid?
I don't know. My mother didn't say that was a stupid goal to write. Oh, to getting attention? Oh, yeah. Okay. I went to my other goal. Sorry, I'm back with the good goal that you gave me to cancel, and I'm canceling it, getting attention. Okay, there isn't going to be any. There isn't going to be any.
What happens if you don't give the attention?
I'm getting mixed up with my grandson. I got to take him out of the picture. My grandson comes to my mind. Sorry, I just can't go anywhere with this right now. I'll stay with it.
No, you're fine.
I don't
stay with it and breathe. Stay with it and breathe. And we're going to move on through it, but I want you to be with what's up right now. Maybe jot down, make yourself notes, because this is the Hydra. You know, when there's, like, this is a huge issue, and so it's got a lot of components. You know, it's got pieces that are connected to parents, pieces that are connected to grandson. You know, when thoughts like that pop up and you're like, I don't know why I'm thinking of my grandson, make yourself a note, because there is something linked around attention, whether it's attention from him or to him, that is very important and very strong.
They sent him away. They sent him away, and I've been afraid he just won't be all right. Because they sent him away, and we're only grandparents. We're once removed. We can't do enough for him.
And so he knows who you really are. And you doing things for him are not what it's about. You are what it's about for him.
Okay.
So that'll be another worksheet another time, but make yourself a note, because that's a very powerful one that you'll need to get to.
It. Yeah, I made a note. Okay.
Okay. And so take a breath. So we cancel the goal to get attention. And then what came up, so if your worksheet has now I feel, you said you felt sad.
Yeah.
So see, a worksheet, you began that you were scared, and now you've tapped into sad. A worksheet doesn't always take you to the bliss. It may take you to the next worksheet, which this one it sounds like it did. And so there's no right or wrong answer. It's to get to, you know, the reason that you've got a goal that you need attention, and so the only reason that you're not getting it is because there's some part of you somewhere that says you don't deserve it or you can't have it. And until you can remove that part, you're not going to get what you say you want.
Yeah.
And so that's why we cancel the goal. And so you've tapped into a lot of what's underneath that attention folder.
Yeah.
And whether it's getting attention or giving attention, and it's tied into feeling valued. And, you know, and so I'm going to just throw some things out. At the bottom of their worksheet we have, and I can see that, which is looking back and getting a glimpse of what's underlying. So like what you wrote in number 1 about being scared and not getting attention and doing things that didn't count and wanting the attention. So that is a reality that's built out of some other brain cells. So when we cancel the goal to have attention, and then you tap into without that attention, you know, then there's like hopelessness under there. It's connected to your grandson, whether it's, you know, giving or receiving. That attention is linked to an expression of love. And somewhere along the way, it's also attached to doing certain things that qualifies or is worthy of that attention. And so all of that is tied in there together. And so, you know, make a note of the now I see that.
Yeah.
Of some of those things.
I've been writing them down, Jeanie.
Pardon? Oh, yeah.
I've been writing them down. Thanks.
Good. And then at the very bottom of our sheet, we've got, and now I set a new goal. So looking back at, okay, so we didn't fill in who your object of attention was. I guess it would be yourself. So you're doing this worksheet. Susan, the being, so Susan number 1 is doing the worksheet on, and the object of attention is Susan non-being, Susan number 2. And so you're doing it on yourself. And so when you get to the bottom, then what you might offer is that you're going to be gentle with yourself, breathe, and recognize that everything you do counts. And give yourself the attention that, you know, maybe you don't acknowledge yourself or give yourself the attention that what you do is important, even if it's not your ultimate purpose.
That's good. That's good. How
Dr.
to get
Tim,
that
do you
in
have
there?
something else to add to her on that?
I would just pay attention to the breath and soften and let yourself do the many myriad worksheets that will come to mind from this.
Yeah. Tons.
And you might need to do a worksheet or 2 on resistance, because remember, you called in and you asked to be stepped through a worksheet, and then it took a team of wild horses in 1,000 different directions to try and pull you away from it. And that's perfectly okay. Just recognize, oh, I had a lot of resistance. Go back and listen to this show again. And find how you were using your vast intellectual capacity and your vocabulary and all of your ways to figure it out to absolutely pull you away from what you finally got in touch with here. And this is just one aspect of it. But the deep sadness that you're holding when you think about not getting the attention you think you need. And notice that you survived tapping into it a little bit. And if you survive tapping into it a little bit, you can survive diving into the deep end of the pool. And just keep your breath moving and let it wash over you.
lot of embarrassment about wanting attention.
Another good worksheet.
Yeah.
And a lot of this may come from being a child, and you're saying embarrassed about wanting attention as an adult, but as a child, it was like that attention was crucial to, I need to know I'm going to survive here.
Mhm.
And so when we tap into those memories, we're actually, the feelings that come forward are memories of the past.
Mhm.
And so, what we felt, as a small child, and it was critical and crucial in survival. And so tapping back into that, there's no, let go of the embarrassment, because, that's how you heal, is to be able to feel safe enough to tap into that, for it to come up and to look at it.
Okay.
Just keep breathing, and
I am.
then it just leads you to, let's see, Julie just sent me another text. Let me see what she says. Does your mind discount the contributions that you often make?
Yeah. Yeah, it does. That's another one to look at. Thanks, Julie. The wizard. 3 wizards. This is amazing. I've been fussing with this, and you just did it in 10 minutes.
Well,
Got me going.
And it takes practice, but a lot of what happens is we start doing, a worksheet that's on a big issue, and our mind will take us in 100 other directions, or, just like, and our mind will take us in 100 other directions, or, just like you had so many goals and trying to do them all in one worksheet. The more specific you can narrow it down and get very specific about what you're wanting on that worksheet. That's why, like when Brenda was saying, have a major worksheet and then have the short forms, so that when things like this pop up, you can actually fill in little bits and pieces to the short forms. So you've already got other worksheets started on it. So, that fits in really good, how you can do that then to keep up with everything that pops up at one time. It's the Hydra.
Yeah, that Hydra thing is a great image.
Yeah. Good job, girl. Thank you for being willing to go there.
Oh, thank you for taking me there. I couldn't get there by myself. This is amazing.
Well, that's why we're here. Thank you. And we are down to the last minute, so if we need to continue, call back in tomorrow.
Thank you. It's been wild.
All right.
We've had just a weird summer schedule, but thanks. I'll call in when I can. It's so good.
All right. And we'll hold the space.
Thanks, Jeanie. Thanks, Julie.
All
Thanks,
right.
Tim.
All right. And so we want to just tell everybody to have the best year yet of your eternal life. It's an awesome gift to give the world, and